The hardest part about buying a home is not picking the paint. It's the moment you realize the math doesn't care how hard you work. You can love a neighborhood, love the schools, love the little coffee shop, and still end up trapped if you buy at the wrong time. And in 2026, the housing market is doing something a lot of people forgot it can do. It's saying no. Picture a couple on a Saturday morning. They've got coffee in one hand and a phone in the other, refreshing listings like it's a job. They've already toured 10 places. Each one was almost right. And every time they hesitate, they feel like they're losing. That feeling is what makes people overpay. It's not greed, it's exhaustion. It's wanting to be done. But the market in 2026 rewards the person who can slow down. Because when prices drift lower, the buyer who rushes is the one who donates their down payment to the market. Here's the part people don't like to say out loud. If you buy with 5% or 10% down and prices fall another 5%, you can be underwater fast. Underwater doesn't mean you're bankrupt. It means you're stuck. You can't easily sell. You can't easily move for a better job. You can't breathe. The Case-Shiller release for September 2025 also pointed out something important. Inflation was outpacing home price growth, meaning even flat. Prices can feel like a decline in real terms. That's why this matters for the common person. If your paycheck goes up a little but your costs go up a lot, you don't get richer. You just get squeezed. Now, before we get deeper into each city, let's define one phrase you'll hear a lot: months of supply. Months of supply is basically how long it would take to sell the homes on the market at the current pace of sales. When it's under about 6 months, sellers usually have the edge. When it's over 6 months, buyers usually do. That's why Miami at around 9, 7 months, and Austin around 7, 1 month is a big deal. It means the market has a backlog. It means sellers have competition. Competition is what brings reality back. Reality looks like price cuts. Reality looks like repairs. Reality looks like sellers paying closing costs again. And by the way, none of this means you should try to get cute and time the exact bottom. It means you should buy with margin, not with hope. Hope is what people used in 2021. Hope that rates would always be low. Hope that prices would always rise. Hope that a refinance would fix everything. In 2026, hope is expensive. Back to Austin for a second, because Austin also teaches a lesson about ego. When everyone around you says a place is the future, you start believing price doesn't matter. But price always matters. A home is still just a future stream of payments. When the payment gets too high, demand breaks. If you're buying in Austin, watch the incentives. Incentives are the market's way of cutting price without saying the words price cut. If a builder offers a rate buy down today, ask yourself what happens when you try to resell and that incentive is gone. Now add one more Tampa reality that doesn't show up on a listing page. A house can pass inspection and still become expensive because of the stuff you can't see in a photo, insurance, flood maps, and HOA rules. If you want a safe feeling, don't just ask what the seller paid for insurance. Ask what you will pay with your policy at today's rates. In Miami, the condo question is not optional. It's the whole story for many buyers. Florida's DBPR talks about milestone inspections and structural integrity reserve studies, and that's the official version of a simple idea. Buildings need proof they're safe, and they need money set aside to stay that way. That can be a good thing for safety, but it can also mean higher monthly dues or surprise assessments in older buildings. In Orlando, remember this: the market can be calm and still decline. You don't need chaos for prices to drift down. You just need more sellers than buyers. And in Phoenix, don't underestimate psychology. When a market has a history of big cycles, people react faster. A few months of declines can change behavior quickly. If you're listening to this and you already live in one of these cities, don't take it as an insult. Take it as a weather report. You don't hate the sky because it might rain. You just bring an umbrella. The umbrella in 2026 is simple. Buy something you can afford even if the market is boring for years, and protect yourself with a contract that gives you exits. Not a dramatic crash everywhere. Not a movie scene with banks collapsing. Just a slow, stubborn change where sellers have to sweat again and buyers stop chasing. That shift is real in the national data. The Case-Shiller index showed U.S. home prices up only about 1. 3% year-over-year in September 2025, one of the weakest annual gains since mid-2023, and many big metros were already down from a year earlier, and buyers have leverage again. A Wall Street Journal report said that in 2025, 62% of homes sold below asking price, with average discounts around 8%. That is not cheap, but it is a different kind of market. Realtor.com expects 2026 to be steadier nationally, with mortgage rates averaging about 3% and home prices rising modestly, around 2 per. That's not a boom, and it's not a rescue. So why the warning? Because national averages hide the places that are already slipping. And if you're a regular person using a normal down payment, a few percent down in the first year can erase your savings fast. The 5 cities in this story are not bad cities. They are places where the market ran hot, inventory surged, and the direction has already turned. In 2026, these are the places where you should slow down, double-check the numbers, and not let anybody rush you with a fake sense of urgency. Let's start with Austin, Texas, because Austin is what a boom looks like when it grows legs. Remote work, tech hiring, and the rush to the Sun Belt turned it into a bidding war machine. Now, the mood is different. Zillow's latest snapshot puts Austin's average home value around $489,253 and down 4% over the past year. That is a real drop, not just a slowdown. Supply tells the rest of the story. Realtor.com data showed Austin in buyer's market territory with about 7.1 months of supply. That means choices, time, and negotiating power for buyers. When you have that much inventory, the market becomes picky. Homes that would have sold in a weekend can sit, and sitting changes the price. Austin also has another ingredient that can push prices down faster than people expect. New construction. Builders can compete with incentives that resales can't match. A builder can buy down a buyer's interest rate or cover closing costs, and suddenly the shiny new home looks cheaper than the older one, even at the same price. That forces resellers to cut. If you're thinking about buying in Austin in 2026, the risk is not that the city disappears. The risk is buying with a short timeline. If you might need to move in 2 or 3 years, you're playing with fire in a market that is already trending down. Austin can still be a great place to live, but the deal has to be great too. Now let's talk about Tampa, Florida. This is where the boom met real-life bills. Florida pulled in waves of newcomers and prices jumped fast. Zillow's snapshot shows Tampa's average home value around $365,027, down 4% over the past year. And once again, the supply picture matters. Realtor.com listed Tampa as a buyer's market with about 3 months of supply. That's enough inventory for buyers to negotiate without panic. But Tampa's biggest danger in 2026 is not just price, it's the total monthly cost. In Florida, insurance and association fees can turn a good price into a painful payment. If the house costs a little less but the insurance costs a lot more, your budget still breaks. And when budgets break, buyers back off. That's how declines build. Not with one giant crash day, but with thousands of normal families deciding, we can't afford this anymore. If you're buying in Tampa, you need to treat the insurance quote like a required document, not something you shop for after you fall in love with the kitchen. And if it's in an HOA, you need to read the budget and understand the fee history. Fees don't care about your mortgage rate. They show up every month anyway. Miami is next, and Miami is tricky because it is not one market. It's local wages, global money, and a lot of condos stacked on top of each other. Zillow's snapshot puts Miami's average home value around $572,034, down 7% over the past year. That might sound mild, but it matters when prices are high. And Miami's inventory signal is loud. Realtor.com listed Miami as a buyer's market with about 7 months of supply. That is a lot of homes competing for attention. In Miami, the condo story is where the risk gets sharp. After the Surfside collapse, Florida put new safety and financial requirements on condos, including inspections and reserve studies for certain buildings. Florida's DBPR explains these requirements through milestone inspections and structural integrity reserve studies. The goal is safety. The side effect can be higher fees and special assessments, and the market has been feeling it. WLRN reported that South Florida condo sales fell again in 2025, even as lower prices and lower mortgage rates late in the year helped bring some buyers back. When condo fees rise or a special assessment hits, the buyer pool shrinks fast. A buyer who can handle the mortgage may still walk away from a building with big unknown costs. So if you're buying in Miami in 2026, the warning is simple. Don't just buy the unit. Buy the building's financial health. Ask for the reserves. Ask about pending repairs. Ask if major work is planned. Because in a cooling market, a shaky building can drop faster than the city average. Orlando, Florida is next. Orlando looks friendly on the surface. Tourism, growth, new neighborhoods, but the housing market is still just supply and demand. Zillow's snapshot puts Orlando's average home value around $367,475, down 2% over the past year. And Realtor.com listed Orlando as a buyer's market too, around 9 months of supply. More listings means more comparisons, and comparisons push prices down. Orlando also has a steady stream of new homes being built. In a hot market, that helps. In a cooler market, it adds competition. When buyers can choose between resale homes and brand new homes with builder incentives, the resale seller often has to give something up: price, repairs, or credits. If you're buying in Orlando in 2026, use your time. Time is power. You don't have to waive inspections. You don't have to accept a bad deal. And if you're buying because you think prices will jump again next year, pause and ask yourself a hard question. Are you buying a home, or are you buying a prediction? The fifth city is Phoenix, Arizona. Phoenix has seen big cycles before. It's a place where affordability and growth pull people in, and then higher rates can cool things quickly. Zillow's snapshot puts Phoenix's average home value around $402,796, down 4 over the past year. Phoenix is sensitive to financing. When rates are high, the payment jumps fast and the pool of qualified buyers shrinks. That can push prices down even if the city keeps growing. Phoenix also has to compete with new construction and incentives can quietly reset the market's real price level. If a builder is effectively discounting the payment, the resale market has to respond, because buyers compare monthly costs, not just list prices. A lot of people hear down 4% and think it's no big deal. But if you put 5% down and prices drift lower, you can lose your cushion fast. That's why Phoenix is on this list. Not because it's doomed, but because the market can move faster than a family can recover savings. So what ties these 5 places together? Austin, Tampa, Miami, Orlando, and Phoenix. They had big run-ups, and now they have more inventory and softer demand. Realtor.com's data shows these metros moved into buyer's market territory by the classic definition, with 6 months of supply or more. When that happens, sellers lose the power to dictate terms. And when sellers lose power, the market starts acting normal again. Price cuts become common, repairs get negotiated, buyers walk away more often. Even national reporting is pointing to this buyer shift. The Wall Street Journal described a market where discounts and concessions are more common, especially in parts of the South where inventory rose. This is not a message that you should never buy a home. It's a message that the next 12 months can punish rushed buyers in the wrong places. Florida deserves one extra warning because Florida has multiple cities on this list. Realtor.com projected that in Florida's 8 largest metros, median prices for existing homes and condos could fall on average in 2026, around 9%. That doesn't mean every neighborhood drops. It does mean the Florida always goes up. Story is not a guarantee anymore. In a market like that, the safest move is not speed, it's clarity. Know the payment, know the fees. Know the resale risk if you had to move. If you're shopping in any of these cities, here is what a careful buyer looks like in 2026. They don't waive inspections, they don't skip the condo documents. They don't ignore insurance quotes. They also don't fall for the old pressure lines. If someone tells you there are 5 other buyers coming tomorrow, ask why the listing has been sitting for weeks, and they build a cushion. If you're stretching to the last dollar just to win the house, you are one surprise away from panic. A good home can still be a bad deal. A bad deal is what hurts the common person, because the common person doesn't have room for mistakes. Now, my personal take, if this were my money and my family, I would stop thinking about the price and start thinking about the exit. Could I stay at least 5 to 7 years if the market stayed flat or dipped? Could I handle insurance or HOA costs rising? Could I still pay the bills if one paycheck disappeared for a while? If the answer is no, I wouldn't buy in a falling market just because I'm tired of renting. Renting can feel like burning money, but buying the wrong home can burn more. In these 5 cities, I would only buy if the deal is clearly better than last year's comps, and the monthly payment is comfortable even after adding taxes, insurance, and fees. And if I didn't love the deal, I'd wait. Waiting in a buyer's market is not losing, it's collecting information. Every month you wait, you see more price cuts, and you learn what sellers will accept. The goal is not to time the exact bottom. The goal is to avoid getting trapped right after you buy. If you want more plain English breakdowns like this, subscribe to the channel. No hype, no panic, just the numbers and what they mean for regular people trying to build a life.